From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Joe St. George in Washington. Since July, the IRS has been sending monthly child tax credit payments to parents. But could the benefits soon expire? We explain next.
Montana Tech has released its current enrollment figures. I'll tell you if the Butte University is retaining or losing students coming up.
Why did the chicken cross the road? Well, it's just trying to get to Belgrade. I'll have more on a ballot initiative unlike any other.
Nicely done.
Well
That's fantastic. 6:31. We will get to that story in a moment. Meantime, not bad outside right now. Could be worse.
A little.
Probably eventually will be worse.
Well, it's certainly in southwest Montana.
Yep.
Blink your eyes. It'll change. The wind is picking up a bit this morning, so grab the coat or jacket on the way out the door. Temperature in Butte 28, 39 in Belgrade, 36 in West Yellowstone. That's a flip for us. Usually West Yellowstone is coldest in the area. Today it's Butte. A little bit of cloud cover in place right now, and that's keeping the temperatures up. I think by the afternoon we should see daytime highs near the 50-degree mark, at least for most of the area. We've had a cold front roll through, and that's dropped the daytime highs a bit. But as you head in toward Thursday and Friday, a nice spike in temperatures. We're going to break it all down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:32 now. Remembrances continue to pour in for Chief Earl Oldperson. Well-known Blackfeet leader died last week at the age of 92. Upon hearing of the news of his passing, U.S. Senator Steve Daines called Oldperson a great Montanan and a great American. Yesterday on the Senate floor, Senator John Tester called Oldperson a keeper of tribal history, a tireless advocate, and for many, he was a national voice for the challenges in Indian country.
Wherever he went, he was pushing for progress. There are too many honors and awards for me to name, but Chief Oldperson's impact goes far beyond his accolades. He was a wise leader, a world-class orator, and I've heard stories of his words that brought folks to tears.
Now, funeral arrangements have been announced for Chief Earl Oldperson. Today, Chief Earl Oldperson will return to the Blackfeet Nation. Oldperson will be taken to the tribal conference room chambers for a walkthrough viewing. On Wednesday, he will be escorted to the Browning High School gymnasium, where he will lie in state until Friday. Friday at 11 in the morning, there will be a funeral service for him. Tribal Council is asking TBs be put up at all Chiefs Park starting today to honor Chief Oldperson. Now, after coordinating with the family of Blackfeet Tribal Chief Earl Oldperson and the Blackfeet Nation, Governor Greg Gianforte will order all flags flown in the state of Montana to fly at half-staff from Wednesday, October 20th to Friday, October 22nd, again to honor the memory of Chief Earl Oldperson. In other news, 15th of the month has just passed by, and now parents know that's when the monthly child tax credit payments arrive. But as our Joe St. George explains, it may be a benefit that parents will only receive 2 more times. That's because Democrats are seeking to shrink the size of the party's social spending plan.
It's a benefit that started in July and continues at least through December. Expanded child tax credit payments have been sent to millions of families, meant to offset the cost of raising kids. The average benefit to parents is around $250 to $300 per month per child, depending on the child's age. But the monthly child tax credit payment by the Treasury Department and the IRS isn't a permanent perk. In fact, Congress could very well change who qualifies to receive it next year, or they could let the benefit expire altogether. Right now on Capitol Hill, leaders are debating whether or not the child tax credit is worth keeping. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who supports the benefit, has made clear in recent days if anything's going to pass, it will have to be lower than the original spending plan's price tag of $3.5 trillion. That means funding for policy proposals like universal pre-K, subsidized childcare, paid family leave, and the expanded child tax credit will either have to be reduced or eliminated. No final decisions have been made. Speaker Pelosi saying this week she'd prefer to include more items in the legislation, but shrink the years that it's offered.
The timing would be reduced in many cases to make the cost lower.
Of course, everything will need to go through Senator Joe Manchin, the moderate Democrat from West Virginia, whose support is needed by Democrats if this is going to pass. He has already said he won't vote for something that's too costly and has encouraged other Democrats to pick one priority, not several. Senator Manchin has also suggested the expanded child tax credit feature a work requirement in order for parents to receive it. Right now, That's not the case. If the monthly child tax credit is cut out of the bill or reduced in scope, it could mean a spike in child poverty next year. In June of this year, before the tax credit, 15.8% of children were living in poverty in the U.S., according to research done by Columbia University. In July, after the first payment, it went down to 11.9%. That's 3 million fewer children living in poverty. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Back here at home now, Montana Tech in Butte pushing to increase its enrollment. MTN's John Emmy reports that effort may be paying off.
As universities across the country deal with dwindling enrollment, a recent report out of Montana Tech shows the Butte University had an increased enrollment in the fall, albeit a very minimal one.
We're really pleased with it. Again, looking at the trends of higher education across the country, in particular those schools that are similar to Montana Tech, having an increase at all is noteworthy because a lot of schools just aren't seeing that.
Montana Tech reported an enrollment of 2,339 students, an increase of just under 1% from last year. The university did see an 8% increase in new students and transfer students. Officials are pleased with the 79% student retention rate of freshmen who returned for their sophomore year.
That's a really good number for us. It's one of the highest retention rates we've had in recent history, so we're proud of that as well.
The university has been working to make the campus more appealing to students.
I think it's important, like having activities on campus and having a lot of resources to help students throughout school to pass their classes.
In order to increase student retention here, Montana Tech is pushing for more personal interaction with students, something that many students say is very important to them.
I feel like there definitely could be more, like tutoring especially for kids, and just like one-on-one work with your professors, but you could also like make schedules and make it work.
Montana Tech's top undergraduate enrollment programs include nursing at 233 students, mechanical engineering at 206, and then business and information technology at 176 students.
Staying in the Montana University system for a moment, the University of Montana asking a federal judge to dismiss one of 4 plaintiffs in a lawsuit claiming sex discrimination against female professors. also says it will be filing more information later that shows the lawsuit claims are false. That suit filed in August says the University of Montana administration has created a retaliatory culture against women professionals who challenge its authority. The original suit had 4 plaintiffs, but later they asked to expand it to a class action lawsuit. Federal Judge Brian Morris hasn't ruled yet on that request. Now on Monday, said claims by social work professor Mary Ann Sontag-Bowman should be dismissed because she's claiming discrimination based on not getting a job for which she never applied. Bowman said she didn't apply for head of the School of Social Work because the administration invited the current head, a man, to reapply for another 5-year term. University says the claims are just a rehash of employment disputes by people who left their position or whose positions were eliminated in restructuring. 6:39 now. Last week, we explained several ballot initiatives in Gallatin County. MTN's Edgar Cedillo has a look now at the final one. This is in Belgrade, and it's nothing to squawk about.
It's a topic that has ruffled some feathers between City Council and Belgrade residents. Now, this upcoming election, residents can decide whether to allow chickens within city limits.
It's been to the city so many times that we need to have this go to the voters to let them decide.
It's been a process at least 12 years in the making, with the most recent being in 2018 and 2020.
And so they finally gave in and said, let's leave it up to the people.
Belgrade City Council came close to allowing chickens in 2018, but ultimately voted against it.
At least it's on the ballot now, whereas the City Council was making the determining factor.
It's been a back and forth between council and residents.
Chickens carry disease, they stink, and they bring predators. I'm of a belief that chickens should be on the farm.
They're just like any other pet you'd have in your backyard. You know, you got to clean up after them.
This ballot measure does pass, don't expect a giant chicken invasion in Belgrade. Residents will only allowed to have up to 6 chickens if they have a lot size bigger than 7,000 square feet.
I'm on a 5,000 foot square lot. I, by that, could not have chickens.
Belgrade residents would ultimately have the last say come this November 2nd.
Let the people that want to have them have them.
Putting an end to the chicken debate in Belgrade, that city would join cities like Bozeman, Manhattan, and Three Forks, allowing chickens in city limits.
Council was tired of dealing with it, and we've dealt with it for 4 different times over the course of 10 years and voted it down every time. This should put finality to it.
Reporting in Belgrade, Edgar Cedillo, MTN News.